A single dad notices a nervous little girl alone at the bus stop and helps her get to an unknown destination. The little girl arrives at a towering corporate building, surprising the receptionist with her presence. The CEO, hardened and cold, sees the girl and is stunned as memories from her past rush back. The city was still wrapped in shadows when Marcus zipped up his worn hoodie and slung his daughter's school bag over his shoulder. He had just finished his night shift at the bakery, his fourth job this week. His back ached, and his eyes were heavy, but he pushed on because that's what single fathers do. His daughter, Tiana, still slept soundly at home under a blanket decorated with cartoon rockets. But this story isn't about Tiana, and not directly. It's about what Marcus did after clocking out that morning. The air was unusually cold for early spring. Marcus pulled the hood over his head and made his way toward the bus stop near the corner of 5th and Blake. That's when he saw her, a little girl, no more than 10 or 11, sitting alone on the bench, holding a folder in her lap like it was something sacred. Her jacket was too thin, her shoes were scuffed, and her braids were tied with little red elastics that looked like they'd been reused more than once. At first, he just walked past. He was tired, and not used to meddling in things that didn't involve him, but something about the way she kept checking the time on a pink plastic watch made him stop. She wasn't just waiting, she was hoping. He hesitated, then walked back. "You okay, sweetheart?" he asked gently. The girl looked up. She had large, intelligent eyes, the kind that had seen more than they should have. She clutched the folder tighter. "I'm fine," she said, almost too quickly. "I'm just waiting for the number 14 bus. It's late." Marcus glanced at the timetable. The number 14 wouldn't be arriving for at least another 30 minutes. He looked back at her. "You got somewhere important to be?" he asked. She nodded and tapped her folder. "I have an interview. For a job." He raised an eyebrow. "A job? Well, sort of. It's a special program for students. They let you work and learn at the same time. My school counselor said I should apply. I made it to the last round. The interview's today." Marcus looked at her again. Shoes too small, sleeves too short, but posture straight and proud. "Where's your family?" he asked, more out of concern than accusation. The girl shrugged. "I stay with my aunt, but she works the night shift and can't take me." "It's okay, I can get there myself." Marcus knew the tone. It was the same one Tiana used when she didn't want to bother him with something, pride mixed with fear. "Tell you what," he said, pointing at the bus stop sign, "this bus is going to be late, and once it shows up, it's got at least 20 stops before it hits downtown. You'll miss that interview for sure." Her face fell a little. "But," he continued, "I just finished my shift and I was headed that way anyway. How about I ride with you? We'll get off a little early and walk the rest." She looked unsure for a moment, weighing his kindness against all of the warnings she'd been taught. But something in Marcus's facet, perhaps the same tired honesty that had gotten him through the hardest years of his life, made her nod. "My name's Amaya," she said. "Nice to meet you, Amaya. I'm Marcus." They boarded the next bus together. She clutched her folder like a life preserver. Marcus sat beside her, offering small talk to ease the awkwardness. She told him about the program. It was run by a tech company in the city, a mentorship and internship opportunity for underprivileged students with academic potential. Marcus was impressed. He'd never heard of a 10-year-old so focused, so determined. "I want to be an engineer," she said, her face lighting up for the first time. "I like building things. Fixing them too. My mom. She used to say I had magic in my hands." Marcus didn't ask about her mom. He could tell that it was a door better left unopened. They rode mostly in silence after that. The city started to stir around them, lights slowly creeping into the streets. As the bus neared downtown, Marcus pulled the stop cord early. "We'll get off here and walk the last few blocks," he said, quicker than sitting in traffic. Amaya followed without question. They walked together down wide sidewalks lined with glass towers that seemed to reach into the clouds. Amaya looked small against the backdrop of corporate power and suits rushing by, but she didn't flinch. "There," she said, pointing. "That's the building." Marcus looked up. It was a gleaming tower with the name Hardwell Technologies etched into the front. He looked back at her. "You got this?" he asked. She nodded, suddenly nervous again. Marcus crouched down a little. "You walk in there, and you show them who you are. You're smart, you're brave, And you came here all by yourself. That's already more than most adults do. Don't be scared of suits, they just hide scared people." She smiled a little. "And don't forget to breathe," he added, patting her shoulder. Amaya took a deep breath. "Thank you, Mr. Marcus." He watched her walk through the tall glass doors, swallowed by the building. He turned and began his own slow walk home, unaware of what was unfolding upstairs. At the top floor of Hardwell Technologies, the air was sterile and quiet. The CEO, Veronica Hardwell, was a woman known for her intelligence and ice-cold demeanor. She built the company from a garage startup into a billion-dollar empire. People respected her, but they didn't necessarily like her. She didn't care. She had no time for weakness, excuses, or sentimentality. She had long ago buried that part of herself. She sat in her glass-walled office, skimming through reports, when her assistant buzzed in. "There's a broken bar. A child here for an interview?" Veronica frowned. "What child?" The assistant was just as confused. "She says she's here for the youth tech program." Veronica sighed. "Send her in." The door opened, and Amaya walked in with trembling hands and oversized shoes. She looked like she didn't belong, but held her folder like it was a shield. "Good morning," she said, her voice shaking slightly. Veronica looked up and froze. Something about the child, the way she stood, the determination in her voice, tugged at something old and long buried in her chest. But she said nothing. Instead, she gestured to the seat across the table. "You made it on your own?" "Yes, ma'am." Veronica nodded slowly. "Impressive." They talked. Amaya answered questions clearly and thoughtfully. She talked about her love of circuits, of building small robots out of broken radios. She talked about the program and how she wanted to learn more, do more, become more. And then, unprompted, she said, "A man helped me get here. I didn't know him, but he made sure I didn't miss my interview. His name was Marcus. He told me not to be afraid of suits." "That was kind." Veronica's fingers tightened around the pen she was holding. Marcus, her brother's name. But it wasn't just the name, it was everything. The way the girl's eyes shone, the way she said it, the way she looked, her voice, her story. It unlocked a memory she had sealed off decades ago. Once upon a time, Veronica Hardwell had been a child like this, small, alone, desperate to be seen. Her own father had walked out, her mother worked double shifts, a teacher had seen her potential, and a stranger she never knew, his Nemia, had helped her get to her first scholarship interview when she missed the bus. She had become who she was because someone had once seen her, believed in her, helped her. Now she was sitting across from another version of herself, and it shattered something inside her. The walls she had built, the armor she wore, it cracked. Tears welled up in her eyes, uninvited and unwelcome. "I'm sorry," she said, wiping at them quickly. "That's a broken bar, not professional." Amaya sat quietly. Veronica took a breath, composed herself, and leaned forward. "You know something, Amaya. You don't need this interview. You're already in." Amaya blinked. "Really?" "Yes," she said, her voice soft now. "But not just that. If you're willing, I'd like to personally mentor you." Amaya's eyes went wide. She nodded slowly, not fully understanding the magnitude of what had just happened. Veronica stood and walked around the desk. She crouched to the girl's level and looked her in the eyes. "You remind me of someone I used to be," she said quietly. "And I think you'll become someone the world will never forget." Down on the street, Marcus was already gone, fading back into the rhythm of survival and unaware that the small gesture he made had caused a tidal wave. Later that week, Veronica used company resources to locate him. She found out he was unemployed outside of night shifts, raising his daughter alone, with a record of discipline and responsibility. She reached out and offered him a job in facilities at Hardwell Technologies with benefits, steady hours, and tuition support for his daughter when the time came. He hesitated, then accepted. When he arrived on his first day, Amaya was already there, wearing a badge that read Youth Intern, Engineering Division. She ran up to him, grinning. "She's amazing," she said, referring to Veronica. Marcus smiled. "Sounds like she thinks the same of you." From that day forward, 3 lives changed. A little girl with dreams had found a champion. A man who believed he was just getting by learned he'd been a hero all along. and a woman who had forgotten her humanity rediscovered it in the eyes of a child and the kindness of a stranger. Because sometimes, one small act of goodness doesn't just change one life, it changes three, forever.